Hey friends, Sam Haymart with Test Driven TV. You know, the Arizona Sonoran Desert's an absolutely beautiful place to see during the spring bloom, but it only lasts for a couple weeks and you really need to get off the beaten path to really see what it's all about. So today, we've got the 2015.5 Volvo V60 Cross Country Wagon. This is a car that's really, I think, ideally suited for the job. So today, we're going to take it up here in the mountains and see how far off the beaten path we can really go. The Volvo V60 Sport Wagon made its return to our shores for the 2015 model year, getting back into the game with a wide range of models. And for a mid-year surprise, they introduced the all-weather and all-road cross country we have here. Like its XC70 big brother, the V60 Cross Country gets 2.6 inches of additional ground clearance to make off-pavement treks and snow crawling that much more palatable. In such, it gets its fair share of off-roady trims front and rear to offer both protection and adventuresome style. The look is a bit sleeker than the XC70 though, more artful in its forms and subtle in its hiking boot persona. While the body style isn't entirely new, it remains fresh here in our market, especially since it received a significant redesign up front in 2014. For the cross country, there's a unique honeycomb grille which better hides the radar sensors for its driver assistance systems, framed nicely by its xenon headlamps. The front fascia is unique here too, with a skid plate-like wrap under. The interior is classic Volvo with decidedly architectural forms. Our Platinum grade came with virtually everything offered here, including leather chairs, power adjustable up front, and heated both front and rear. The driver gets memory settings for their seat and mirrors. Genuine wood trim was optioned here, which warms the otherwise dark cabin, which is assembled with excellent fit and finish, solid structure, and switchgear that pleases the fingers with the feel of quality. The style is distinctive and not far from a Copenhagen furniture gallery and genre. Rear seat space is more than adequate in this class, offering enough leg and headroom for most adults, but it's the rear cargo area which is the main attraction with a sport wagon, isn't it? Here you can fold the rear seats down with a 60-40 split for a near-flat load floor. The steering wheel has controls for audio and cruise control and is comfortable in the hands, but missing paddle shifters. Controls for the customizable instrument cluster buck the trend and are found on the less stock. One of the first to offer the floating center stack, now popular in many cars, there's a handy stowage area in the forward part of the center console. Its age shows, however, with a not-so-intuitive bank of chiclet-sized buttons all lumped together which don't have defined zones for purpose. Using the small infotainment screen further adds difficulty as it can be hard to see with its small fonts, and most tasks like storing station presets or programming the nav system are done through a less than straightforward set of knobs and buttons. Outside of this, the optioned Harman Kardon audio system is top-notch and made our trek out into the back roads quite a joy, and with its satellite radio and connectivity options for our devices, we didn't have to go without tunes out here where the radio stations go away. And that is really what the Volvo V60 Cross Country is all about, so we got on Arizona's Highway 88 east of Phoenix, which treks deep into the Superstition Wilderness and Tonto National Forest. Here we get high in elevation on both paved and dirt roads. Motivating us is the sole available engine, the venerable 2.5-liter turbocharged 5-cylinder, which has been a staple in the brand for some time. It offers up 250 horsepower and 266 pound-feet of torque delivered through a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, power from this 5-cylinder engine is actually not too bad at all. I would say it's right in the middle of the segment in terms of competitiveness. It's got enough torque and mid-range feel that if you really put your foot in it going up a hill, or if you're trying to pass, it'll give you what you need. And being a 5-cylinder, it is smoother than a 4-cylinder engine, but not quite as smooth as a V6. 5-cylinders tend to have a sound all their own. The Volvo V60 Cross Country, as equipped, is rated by the EPA at 20 mpg city, 28 mpg highway, and 23 mpg combined. We achieved 22 mpg combined in our real-world testing. Suspension here is reworked to allow for its additional 2.6 inches of ground clearance, but retains its native McPherson strut front and multi-link rear suspension, which has long offered sharp and precise handling here. Handling up here on the curves is a little bit sharper and tighter than I might have expected, given the fact that this does have an increase in ground clearance over the standard V60. It's where the pavement ends that I think our Volvo V60 Cross Country really needs to be pushed. Not only is this what the car is about, but it's where we'll see what we came here for, the color and grandeur of the spring bloom.
The first phase of our little trip here is a trip down the Washboard Road, and while that doesn't seem all that challenging, it is, because this surface can shake even the best of SUVs right down to their bolts. And what I'm finding here is over these ripples, it's actually holding together pretty tight. I'm getting a little bit of rattle here and there, but I'm not getting any kickback through the steering. I'm not getting any shaking or any kind of sensations in the suspension that tell me that it's less than good.
The trek takes us tight into the deeply cut narrow path of Fish Creek Canyon, which takes you down a steep descent with cliffs overhead on one side and thousands of feet of vertical drop on the other. While we didn't need the cross country's hill descent control here today, it would be very handy if it were muddy and slick. The ride here in the rough was just as composed as out on the washboard surfaces, offering up a sense of confidence and solidness that conveys not only quality of its build, but a sense that it might just wear well out here in this stuff over the miles.
Whenever you're on a dirt or gravel road like this one, it's oftentimes just as slippery as an icy road or a muddy road, and that's because all that fine gravel and grit out there can roll just like ball bearings under your tires. And so things like stability control are just as important here as they are in wet climates. And so as I'm going around these tight curves, I'm sort of, well, trying to induce a little bit of oversteer, a little bit of understeer, just to see how it behaves. And so far what I'm finding is, like there, it's arresting it pretty well, pretty quickly, before physics has a chance to have its due course. Seems to do a pretty good job of really sort of catching oversteer before it gets a chance, to really happen.
While crawling along on more challenging terrain or blasting along on the more manicured soft roads, the cross country proved it has what it takes to get off the beaten path in more ways than one, and most importantly, it has what it takes to get you back home safely. The 2015.5 Volvo V60 Cross Country has not yet itself been tested by the IIHS, but the very similar 2015 V60 Wagon achieves their top Safety Pick Plus crash rating with good results across their battery of tests. While the results could vary, the V60 Cross Country should offer similar results.
Well, that was a pretty fun drive, wasn't it? I love to get these cars off on the dirt where they belong, and then getting dirt on the car, well, that's just an extra added bonus. Now, as we look at the specs here, price on this one right around $50,000. You can go higher and you can go lower, both on this car as well as its class. So right in the middle, not a bad place to be. On the MPG, sort of middle ground here too. 22 MPG for the week is my average, including today. If it had the Drive-E engines available with the all-wheel drive, it could be a little higher. That'll be interesting to see perhaps someday down the road. As we look at the stars here, the areas I rate the car. The only area really hurt here was the infotainment system. Old school, difficult to use, really could use a little modernization there to be more the safety brand behind the wheel, so it's not so distracting. But overall, we're 4 stars to the week. Very good. Now, if you enjoyed this drive, stay around after this. We've got some bonus footage for you. I'm Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. I hope you enjoyed the ride.
If you enjoyed our review, please click on the link on the screen to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on the Google, Twitter, and that Facebook by clicking on the links below in the information section.